Crosby from the corner, twisting and turning inside out. Beautiful move, trying to get the shot on. He holds, he shoots, he scores! Absolutely!
The pitch, high fly ball, center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall. Goal!
Roethlisberger gives him a lot of room here. Juju Smith-Schuster off to the races inside the 30, the 20, the 10.
Smokin' Jim asked me after we did our 10-year anniversary show, he goes, how long did you think we'd do it? I get, you coming from Monroeville, I thought about a month. He goes, I love you in the show. 10 years later, that's my BFF. All right, to all of you, first time here, this is Welcome to Pittsburgh Sports Line, live in the BPTV studio, right here in Bethel Park, the municipal building. That's where our studio's at. Police station's on the right, we're on the left. So we're here broadcasting it. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park, and all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in the city and elsewhere in our area, greater Pittsburgh area. Thanks for all the likes on Facebook. 6921. We're trying to get to 7K.
All right.
This old dog learned a few new tricks. Please like our page. I can see who's liking us. So like that page. Smokin' Jim, you can do it for the 10th time. I don't know how he does it because he told me, I didn't know this, I'm innocent. He goes, Smokin' Jim Frazier's not my government name. It's just revealing. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. I got Smokin' Jim Frazier, Chip Hayner, Nick Callis is in here, our young guy from Waynesburg U. I got Steve Wirt, who does Sports Memories and does a podcast or two.
All right.
We'll find out more about him, and he knows sports. So we're going to talk about that. Let me do some promos here for the community. First off, watch A2. And I have to clarify this. I have A1 in the control room. His name's Anthony. I have A2 all swagooed up in pink, and his name's Anthony. So me with the wisdom I have, A1 and A2. Ryan's not here. He had some issues to take care of, so he's not in today. I have a young man from Eden Christian Academy.
Your shadow.
He's my shadow. Thanks, Smokin' Jim. A little bit of knowledge. Remember this, folks. Smokin' Jim's as good as the last person he talked to.
Can we go as far to say as Noah is potentially the next Stephen Curry? That three-point shot?
No. He's interested.
Hey, I'm just putting it out there. I don't know.
He's here because he's on he's a high school student.
I heard he could drain the bucket.
And his teacher, he actually stopped playing basketball, and he wants to get involved with sports. And this good friend of mine, Corey Smith of Core Eats, she's been on our show with Jessica Lee. She has healthy baked goods that have hardly any calories. So Smokin' Jim, since he is interested in the last thing I'm saying, if he were able to eat and cook, he could cook them and lose the 25 pounds that he gained back on the stomach flu, and then 100 more. But he's here to shadow me because his teacher, Mr. Hall, asked him to come out here. His parents let him drive from Washington, PA to come in. So he's shadowing me from 6 o'clock when I get here with pizza and a hoagie. And that's from Olive Oil's Pizzeria, nice little segue. But Noah, I'm honored to have him want to learn about Alan Levine, the talking machine, and his crew here.
That's awesome.
So we're honored to have him, and we're not going to stop being silly.
They should have shadowed you at his house today.
Yes. Yeah, well,
Freshly coiffed.
I'll give that. Thank you. Thank you for that. Look at the hair from Azazu Spa and Salon. Saw the owner, my friend Emilio, just a great owner. Marianne Workman cut my hair. She said, say hi to Smokin' Jim.
All right.
And I ran into the well-known attorney, Schrager, that does the billboards.
Yeah.
And we had a great conversation there. He's a very smart man. And he remembered meeting me a few years ago at a networking event.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
That's awesome.
because I've gotten around in public a little bit in Pittsburgh.
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah, I haven't met too many people that don't have your card.
yeah. Hey, a little word on the card. Hey Chip, it's funny you brought that up. You know how at the end of the year you look at different things? And I've had some boxes of cards I've thrown out, and I still got some boxes left. So I looked at my inventory from when I first started the show, October 11, 2011. I've ordered over 6,000 cards. I only have 500 left.
I'm surprised.
I'm still working on my original batch.
We got to get to Olive Oil's Pizzeria. XL Pepperoni Pizza, Steak Hoagie. They sponsor our show. Frank Fanero was there. He said hello to all you guys. Thanks for enjoying the pizza and promoting me. His brother Mike was there, and they just took care of us. Rico, the Puerto Rican, made our pizza again, and Hoagie, like Smoking Jim, he has CTE, and we can pray for him. But every time I mention Rico, he doesn't realize that he's a Puerto Rican making pizza. And you can just tell with the deer in the headlight look. Look, he's doing it again. Give a call, 412-831-1900. You can see it's a new year, but I still get distracted. We're trying to bring the focus back. Great pizza. Check them out. Hillcrest Shopping Center, 5 minutes from our studio. I come the back way, and you can be there and get that pizza, Italian food, and everything. Next up, let's see what A2 can do. Now you know Anthony is A2. Let's see. He gave the thumbs up. Bang. Joey, we end each show with Stay Joey Strong in honor of Joey Fabus, died at 8 years old from a dreaded brain cancer called DIPG. I can't explain it, but it's a dreaded cancer. It kills them within a year. Their family, instead of taking just the negative and feeling sorry, they've raised over $100,000. They do a Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation Superheroes 5K 1 mile run every year in September. I've filmed it every year except when I had my transplant 2 years ago. And they get Superheroes Racing. It's their biggest fundraiser. So check them out at the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. And the Fabus family, they're heroes to me with what they do constantly to try to find a cure and help other children too and families. That's what they do with their money. All right, next up, a little nervous on A2. Oh, that was too quick. He got the automatic focus now. I know what he's doing. Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center. Right here in Bethel Park with the trolley, right on South Park Road, the red trolley, you can't miss it. They have a brand new flag that they got from, like I heard, 1959. They got an old flagpole, redid it, put it on the property, so it's more historical stuff. And they have a great tea place. It's a coffee place called Reginald's Coffee. They get fresh roasted beans from all over the world. And guess what? They have a roaster right in their establishment, right in the front where you order your coffee and tea. And they have Wi-Fi for Smoking Jim so he can get a hold of his sweeties. And Matt and Julie are great owners. They even have desserts so Smoking Jim can gain back some of the weight he lost with a phantom stomach flu. We have no proof of it, just so you know, and he's in perfect health. We just wanted to share that with you. There's no way he's ever been sick or concussed or a quadruple bypass, or need I go on? Unbelievable. But check out the Bethel Park Historical Society. They have all the yearbooks there. It's a 1905 schoolhouse. It's been totally remodeled, and they just do great stuff there when they're able to, so stay tuned. Next up, I got to thank all of you for liking this next 501c3. Look at A2 again on fire. Look, I'm not even moving. He's hitting the spot. That's perfect. If we can only get him in the control room next week. I know he's been hiding out. We need him in that control room. Always be smiling. Thank you for liking them. People are still liking their page. It's a 501c3. Their son, Bennett. This is named after him. The B and always be smiling is for Bennett. 16-and-a-half-year-old young man died of kidney failure. He had 2 kidney transplants. His dad, Dean, got him a second kidney, and his mother, Kristen, instead of them just being brokenhearted, which they still are to this day, they want to do good things for others going through kidney transplants and kidney issues. They help local families and groups in our area. So thank you for all the likes. Please like them some more. Always be smiling. I appreciate you guys liking them and boosting them over 1,000 before December 10th. So that was great. Next up, I got a special fundraiser. I'm doing this with Jessica Lee under a by request. It's called Santa for Seniors. We're asking you to donate blankets and Pittsburgh sports wear, not gear, because like Jessica Lee says, we don't need sticks for the old seniors who have no family members. And we're thinking about giving them blankets because I found out there's 40 to 50 people at the Reformed Presbyterian Home, 2344 Perrysville Avenue, Pittsburgh, PA 15214. And there's over 40 people that have no relatives and get no gifts. So this good friend of mine, Gwen Gibson, has been doing this for a couple years, just giving them gifts. And we volunteered to help others. We have a can here right outside our door of the studio. As you walk in the municipal building where the police station is, 2 glass doors to the left is where our can is. There's signage on the can. It's 24 hours a day you can come in. It's all monitored here. The police are here. You can drop off your blankets and Steeler jerseys, Big Ben shirts, numbers, whatever you want to do. Put it in there because these folks can use it. And if we can help others in our senior homes around here, we will. But we're looking forward to go to our can and drop off your stuff. That would be great.
Up and down and get rid of.
We'll bring them in. Whatever you have, I know it's been bought for you and you don't use it, so it's in good shape.
Yeah, just re-gift them.
Yeah. All right. Next up, they have money for you. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. Grants from $100 to $5,000. BPCF.org. Get an application. I'm a trustee on the board there. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. We've given out $1 million in 25 years. So we give money to local groups in Bethel Park doing great things with our Bethel Park citizens. So again, bpcf.org. All right, we had some good news. Kathleen Miller needs a kidney. Her kidney function has to get to 15%. It was at 17. We started asking for living donors like my son. They make a big difference. Like with my kidney transplant, it's truly life-saving. So she found a donor. We'll find out more when she goes down to the 15% level and can get a transplant. We'll find out who and where and when. So Kathleen's in our prayers. Thank you. Next up, Dave Cable likes to have a little fun with me. I want you for BPTV. Tell them Uncle Al sent you to BPTV. You can be here like A2, like Ryan, like Nick, like A1, even Ethan when he's here. We don't know where he is today, but you can come and be a volunteer, do cameras, control room, go on location, and just help out in our studio, do graphics. These guys came up with different graphics and designs. A2 put my location on there, and on my segment, love it. He did a great job. All right, one more, and this is a test for A2. Let's see what he can do.
Well, you're not out of cards, obviously.
Oh, I'm a card man, buddy. You got it, Steve. Look what he did. 6103 Library Road, Skeets Service Station, red, white, and blue station. Skeets Lewandowski owns it. 724-348-4715. Look how steady I am so far. Whoop. Getting older as we speak. Whoops. Check it out. Anything that runs on gas, they can work or fix. Cars, tractors, trucks, weed whackers, hedge trimmers, You name it, they can work on it. Electronic devices, they do those too. They do inspections, they get tires. They've helped Smoking Jim and I with inspections, and they're just well, there's a little bit of nonsense that goes on. They have a smorgasbord every Monday. Smoking Jim eats the pig's feet and all the unhealthy things, and then says he's a health nut. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. And he just found out the raccoons from 2 years ago escaped. They raised them from babies, and he goes, how'd they escape? He knows nothing about raccoons. But he sponsors What's on Our Mind, and Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine.
Coming at, whoa, that was my hard
Kind of
fastball.
look like Ray McCloud.
Wow.
And we got high diddle diddle, chip up the middle for a double. And you know what's the fastest rising star? Italian wedding suit, brother. I love it. But hey, man, congratulations.
Hold it, I have one question for everybody. Have you ever heard of anything but Italian wedding soup? This is a question for inquiring minds, because I didn't know there was another wedding soup.
I love it, man. I can't get enough of
Now I have this question for Smoking Jim.
it. I got a quart in the car.
Supposedly, you can get it right at Olive Oil's Pizzeria,
I didn't know that. I got it at
and it's
Foster, too.
Italian.
Pedro cooking it?
No, Frank cooked it.
Frank
Finero.
cook, okay.
Yeah, and his kids.
See,
But
when I go to an Italian restaurant, I want somebody Italian cooking my food.
how do you know to check?
Jim, I'll have to take you to an Italian restaurant.
I don't go to a Mexican restaurant and have a brother cook my food.
Olive Garden is not an Italian restaurant.
Pasta 2 is right
Pasta
here.
too is. But hey, I gotta congratulate my main man, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you what, sometimes we just take each other for granted. Al Levine, he had so many nuggets when he made a guest appearance on Channel 21. I just had to write a few down. He let all the listeners know that Ben is the most sacked quarterback in NFL history, 550 plus. He predicted T.J. Watt would get that sack. He also said this was the worst Steeler team he's ever witnessed. You know, he said without Big Ben this year, the Steelers would probably only have 2 wins. He threw something out there that most people didn't know. The RPO, run pass option. And the Steelers can't do it with that old offensive line. And he talked about the Castro. How he noticed that Castro was going down for 2 years before the Steelers. But back by popular demand, what's on my mind is the top 10 Pittsburgh Steelers of all time. Everywhere I go, everybody's like, you got to give your top 10. So
Who are these people that ask you this?
everywhere I go, people want to know.
Where are you even going? He's a mama boy. He's staying at home.
But here's the top 10, brother,
Tim Worley.
of all time. 10B, Rod Woodson. Number 10, Dermontti Dawson. Number 9B, Jack Butler. Number 9A, Greg Lloyd. Number 8, Roy Jefferson. Number 7, Franco Harris. Number 6, he's got to be in there, Terry Bradshaw. Number 5B, Ernie Stottner. Number 5A, Mike Webster. Number 4, the greatest quarterback in Steeler history, Big Ben. Number 3B, Jack Ham. 3A, Jack Lambert. They're tied together. Number 2, Mean Joe Green. And the greatest Steeler I've seen in my lifetime, and I've seen them all, T.J. Watt.
This is for Tony.
T.J. Watt.
This is for Tony at Chick-fil-A, because that's your best buddy now since I introduced you to him, and you call him Anthony because that's what they call him outside of Chick-fil-A. I counted 14 on his list.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was a little more than the
Steve,
10. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not the best with
Jack Ham
math.
and Jack Lambert.
But what I mean, if you're gonna go old school, why not Bobby
Wait a minute.
Lane? Where's
How
Bobby
old-
Lane's a Hall of Famer? Yeah.
Wait a minute. You know I have to take issue with this. There are 28 Steelers in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
And you're putting people in the Steelers' top 14 or 10, whatever you want to call it, that aren't even in the Hall of Fame? I think you need to check that list.
I second that emotion.
So many great Steelers. That's my
Yeah, I
top
know,
10.
but you know, I would start with the Hall of Famers, and everything goes backwards
Hold
from
it,
there.
Bill Means. Welcome to Bill Means, Marilyn Mance. Thanks for watching. Anybody else that hasn't shown up on my screen?
Me and Bill
Bill
Means hate
Means.
Aliquippa.
Bill Means said, "No Mel Blunt," and Marilyn Mance said, "Hi guys."
Hey, Hall of Famer.
What about Franco Harris?
Franco was on there.
Rocky Blyer,
Franco was on there.
Where was
Larry
Rocco?
Larry Brown, John
Yeah.
Kolb,
Franco was number 7 on the list.
How
right
about the
after Terry
strongest man in football,
John Kolb.
John Kolb?
Bradshaw. He's on my list, but he didn't make the top 10.
Hold
There's
it.
only 10. You know how hard
Let
it
me
was?
hold it. The waiver
Me
is
and Mitch-
14. Your list went Tony from Chick-fil-A. He's telling us 14. So how's he stick to 10?
You guys got to give TJ Watt credit. Listen, this is a guy that he's rushing the quarterback. There's only one guy left outside linebacker with over 100 sacks in NFL history, another white guy, Kevin Green. It's so hard to rush the quarterback from that side because they see you. I've never seen anybody do it better than TJ Watt. Outstanding. His motor goes the whole time. If they put him on the other side, he'd probably have 30, 35 sacks a year.
Well, I got a question for all of you here. How does TJ not get a sack when there's like a fumble, bad exchange from a quarterback, and the quarterback falls on the ball, TJ hits him and knocks the ball out?
They created sacks for black players, and there's reverse discrimination with TJ Watt. They don't want him to get the record.
They
being a
played
white
in
guy.
Pittsburgh. That's a sack. They played in Baltimore, and they.
I just
the old Ray Lewis tackle. Like,
Yeah.
Ray Lewis used to have like
Yeah.
20 tackles a game.
Yeah, if Ray Lewis was in the 10 yards of the ball, they got credit for a
Don't you
tackle.
agree with that? The NFL created sacks for black players.
No.
And they hate TJ Watt and Kevin Green. That's why they made Kevin Green wait
wait a
so
minute,
long.
Gastineau had the record
Gastineau
forever.
had the single season
Steve,
record. Another white
welcome
guy,
aboard.
Another white guy
Welcome
that they hate.
aboard.
Gastineau ain't even in the Hall of Fame. Kevin Green had to wait 15 years to
No.
go in the Hall of Fame, and he
The
got
guy-
30 more
The
sacks
guy
than
that
Lawrence
actually had the record
Reverse
was Al
discrimination.
Bubba Baker
Yeah.
from the Detroit Lions.
Now you're
Taylor.
going back.
I always thought it was Deacon Jones.
Deacon Jones.
Well,
Yeah.
Deacon Jones, you know, I mean, but
He said he
Bubba,
kept track of the
Bubba
playbook
Baker,
and
he was legit.
Yeah, he did.
He was legit.
And Bubba Baker was tough.
Well, that was a little interruption. Thank you so much for smoking Jim in your top
I'm
14.
fighting at this reverse discrimination in NFL. I want a white cornerback. Come
Well,
on.
that's the first race card he brought out tonight. These again are Smoking Jim's separate opinions and have nothing to do with us or our station. All right, we'll go to Chip Hayner. What's on your mind?
Oh, thank you for asking, Alan. And first and foremost, we definitely have to get a shout out to, yes, I think Smoking Jim hit the nail on his head where he said the greatest outside linebacker in Steeler history and the 2021 NFL Defensive Player of the Year,
Yes.
TJ Watt.
Yes.
Okay? Got to give him credit, and Jim was right about that.
Thank you, sir.
Finally.
And, you know, far be it from me to toot my own horn.
No.
But toot, okay? I want everybody to go back to October the 5th.
Whoa.
October the 5th was a night here at BPTV, and the Pittsburgh Steelers that night and were sitting at 1-3. And a certain somebody sitting to my left insisted that the Steelers had the worst coaching staff in the NFL
Yeah.
and that they were not going to win another game. And I brought up a fact from the past, and I will go back to 1989. The Pittsburgh Steelers played in the first 2 weeks of the season the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns, and lost by a combined score of 92-10.
I remember.
And I told everybody to relax. And what happened in the 1989 season, on the last week of the season, the Steelers qualified for the playoffs.
You
Okay.
told us that. I remember.
They-
And I relaxed, Chip.
And then
I relaxed.
And then we played a wild card game against the Houston Oilers and Warren Moon as their starting quarterback, who were basically unbeatable through most of the year.
Yes, sir.
And Who was the leading rusher that game?
Merrill Hunt.
There you go. And the Pittsburgh Steelers won that wild card game. I'm making a prediction. After the Steelers got
we go.
drubbed by the Kansas City Chiefs 3 weeks ago, they're going to return the favor this week.
Chip,
Okay?
thank you for
So-
blowing your
so-
own horn.
so-
Toot toot.
So you look at what the Steelers accomplished this year with no offensive line, no deep passing attack, with no rushing attack, an aging quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay, yet they went 9-7 and won. Okay, took second place in the division, beat two teams that they're the odds-on favorites to win the division, and beat them each twice, the Ravens and the Browns. And you look at this, and I would have to say that this may be Mike Tomlin's best coaching job of his career.
Wow.
Because
You
this
heard it
team-
here first.
This team didn't quit, and I think he's more deserving of NFL Coach of the Year than any other candidate in football this year.
He should be in the
Just
running.
amazing what this team has accomplished. They've got no business being where they're at, but what did they do? They started stacking wins, and they may not have scored a lot of points. They give up 200, 250 yards rushing, but if you're giving up yards between the 20s and they're not putting the ball in the end zone, you've got a chance to win. And with the experienced quarterback that we have, all he has to do is put up 1 or 2 touchdowns. Boswell will kick you 3 field goals, and there's your recipe for a
That's
9-win
money.
season.
Hey, Chip, thanks to you, I relaxed, and I watched one of the worst Steelers seasons game-wise in history, but I just prayed that we'd win, and it worked.
A lot of things had to fall our way.
And I'll talk about that in a couple
Okay,
minutes.
and I'll let you. But I mean, that just tells me that there's something special happening this year, and Ben may go out on a high note. Who knows? I mean, it's the playoffs. Anything can happen.
No, it could happen. Hey, Tony from Chick-fil-A said this, Smoking Jim. That is a gateway education for you. He thinks 10, but has 14. LOL, Lynn Swan. Ralph Williams just said Giants
Soler.
fired head coach Joe Judge.
Yep.
And Bill Mean said, way to go, Chip. And Marilyn Mance co-signed what I said, just pray. Like I told people, don't worry about the coaching. Don't worry about the playing. Don't worry about playing the Chiefs. I said, just pray. You can waste a prayer on that.
I don't say pray. Pray. I say just play.
Well,
There's a reason why
I'm
they play the
praying they
games.
play because they start slower than anybody else I know. I'd rather they start a little
Not
early.
how you start, Alan. It's how you finish.
Well, I'm betting the house on Kansas City. so
Good
it's
for
all right.
you. Oh, that's a guaranteed win for the Steelers.
Here's a disclaimer. If you haven't started to gamble, don't gamble. If you did start to gamble and you listen to Smoking Jim, do the opposite. 2 years ago, he gave us 6 mortal locks, bet the house bets. And I hate to share it, but he lost 4 of them. Now, you do the math. You bet $6 and you lose on 4 of them. That isn't a good number. Just using simple math. Not his $250 a game. 'Cause we don't know where
Mike
that's coming
Tomlin's
from.
winning percentage is better than that.
Thanks to Ben. Thanks to Ben.
Winningest black coach in NFL history.
The only coach in NFL history to
Really?
never have a losing season in 15 years.
Oh, that's right.
Till
First
after Ben
15.
leaves.
Hey, I tell you what, the year that Ben didn't play, he didn't have a losing season.
Oh,
We had to duck.
we're digressing. We're going to go to our special guest, Steve Wirt. What's on your mind? I know we've confused you with all this information and non-information, I must share.
I'm still trying to figure out how 10 goes into 14. But,
Just ask Smoking Jim.
well,
He'll clarify it.
yeah, speaking of like things that don't make sense, and the college football season just wrapped up yesterday, and congratulations to Georgia. They played well.
Yes.
I predicted Georgia.
First title in 41 years.
Yeah. And so, just because we're a local program and you know how we are around here, we have to bring in the local angle. So
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so Pitt had a very successful year and they won the ACC. And I know Clemson had a down year this year, so
Yeah.
people are kind of discount it a little bit, but if you look at the way Pitt's set up going forward in their division on their side, I think like 4 or 5 teams have changed head coaches.
Yeah.
And normally in college that does set you back. I know at least the major players like Miami, Virginia Tech, and
Good point,
Virginia
Steve. Yeah.
all changed their coaches this year. So, and Pitt brought in a pretty well-regarded. He was pretty good his freshman year at Slotis. Kevin Slotis, I think I might pronounce it.
Yeah.
Brought him in from USC. So they already have a quarterback to replace Pickett.
Right.
And they just need an offensive coordinator now. And their schedule isn't impossible next year. They do got West Virginia right off the bat, but that isn't an impossible to win.
It's
game.
nice to have the backyard brawl.
Well, that's been the price of like going to this playoff and the conferences is you've gotten rid of a lot of the old-fashioned rivalries. Like it's not just Pitt, Penn State, and Pitt, West Virginia. Missouri, Kansas don't play.
That's a good one, yeah.
In Texas A&M didn't play, but now they will in a couple years whenever they join
Sure.
the SEC.
They work out their differences.
Yeah. But
Supposedly.
but it's just it's killed. The conferences have really killed college football, and maybe they'll figure it out and expand that playoff to 12 teams, which will definitely I think at least help Pitt's case to get in the playoff. But like I said, Pitt has a real opportunity at least next year to at least win the ACC again. I doubt Clemson will have 2 down years in a row, but I definitely would give them a chance. Their defense has pretty much everybody back, and that defense, if the defense can hold people to 17-21, and this kid from USC is as good as advertised, I think they'll be definitely in the mix.
I appreciate your opinion. Yeah.
Well, they had meetings at the national championship. The NCAA did, trying to hammer out a deal to expand the playoffs, and they couldn't come to any kind of an agreement
fell
because
through.
now you've got 12 conferences. You've got the 5 major power conferences, but you've got 12 conferences, and each conference wants their conference champion to be eligible for the playoffs, and they don't know how that's going to work out.
That makes sense. Why would you do it any other way? And I would
But-
say to the teams like Vanderbilt or Kentucky, if you don't like that the Sun Belt, Arkansas State is going, you can leave the SEC and join the Sun Belt.
Right.
Nobody's stopping you.
Right, but I mean, you take somebody from the Sun Belt
Sold.
Conference,
Sold.
you take a 2-loss team from the SEC. It's going to be better than the conference champions
his
of
point.
any other conference.
Michigan lost to
So-
Appalachian State. Georgia Southern beat Florida.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
on a
and those are
consistent
supposedly
basis.
your
But here's
SEC
what the thing is.
schools,
So as it stands now, there's not going to be a change in the playoff system. The earliest it could happen is 2026, and they can't even agree on what they disagree on at this point.
Yeah,
So,
it's
Well,
sad.
it's
it-
pretty much typical college at the top level. It's a mess, and it never serves the fan. It always seems to be the
it's the almighty dollar.
Yeah, well, not even the almighty, because they would make more money off.
Well,
a
see, but there-
playoff.
another
it
thing-
doesn't even make any sense when they do.
They're
stuff.
trying to figure out how the bowl games will play into into the playoff system,
You could
because
just make
they're
the
going to have to
playoff
use
games.
it.
It wouldn't
Because
be
to
that
be
hard.
honest with you, to have the national champion play 6 weeks after the conference championship, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, they played the last game at Thanksgiving, and on January 11th or January 10th they're playing the championship game.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
All I know is my coach of the year is Deion Sanders. Boy, did he coach.
That might be that NIL.
Didn't he,
money.
didn't he lose to a team that was 6 and
Yes.
6?
Thank you, Steve. We're going to move on to me. What's on my mind? We had Jake Clancher on our show last week, and I don't believe in gambling, but I let him talk about it. And he came out with a way, unlike Smoking Jim says every week, bet 250, make 250, lose 250, make 250. Jake Clancher goes, I got the bet for you. Al, can I say it?
Yeah.
I go, put it out there. He goes, bet Jacksonville. They have a bet. Bet $5, win 70 right now. He goes, I say put 10, 20 bucks or something like that on it. I go, make the bet. I go, you heard it here first. He's telling you how to make money. Then he said, bet the Steelers. Whatever you do, bet the Steelers to get in. He said it on our show
Yes, he
last
did.
week,
Yes, he did.
and we needed a miracle to have it happen. everything happened. And I'm going to let Chip tell about the Raiders ending to the game because he said it perfectly. The Smoking Jim pre-game show. Just do it the same way.
Well, here's what the deal was. The game ended up tied at the end of regulation, 29-29. They go into overtime. You know, the Raiders get on and kick a field goal. The Chargers kick a field goal. Now you only got 10 minutes in overtime. In a regular season, you know, if it ends up a tie, it's a tie. They don't play sudden death overtime. So the Raiders are moving the ball, and they're at about the 50-yard line, which means that their kicker is going to have to kick a 60-plus yard field goal.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't look like they're going to do it. Time's running down, 30 seconds left. The head coach of the Chargers, for whatever reason, and I don't see his
just say
coaching
it like
career
you
having
did, yeah.
longevity, calls a timeout. And his reasoning for calling a timeout, I knew the Raiders were going to run the ball because basically it looked like the Raiders were trying to run out the clock to play for the tie. If they both tied, they both make the playoffs. The Steelers are out. But he said he wanted
Remember that point.
He said he wanted to have his best run defense in his. So he looked at the analytics, called timeout, made some player switches. The Raiders run the ball and gain 12 yards. That gives them a 47-yard field goal to attempt to win the game with 2 seconds.
And what happened?
Which, of course, they do. It goes through the uprights. The Chargers are out. The Steelers are in. And I'm surprised he has a job.
And you know what I said to all of this? I've been watching sports for most of my life. I bet on sports when I was a teenager, early 20s. And I saw some patterns that looked strange to me. And I'd explain to others, how does this happen? They go, I don't know. I go, I think there's a fix. Because in baseball, when they first started out, there was gambling on baseball. They fixed games. When football players got banned and stuff for fixing games and getting paid. And I said, they're doing it legally now because they're getting away with it. So I believe all sports are fixed because they're in with casinos in Las Vegas. How do you get morning lines, injury reports, and every little stat that you need to bet? And how come their lines are almost perfect except for little Steeler games and a couple other things when you need 5 things to happen, and they all happen? What kind of coincidence is that? That's what I just asked.
I'm making a killing on it.
There's no way. I've never seen any of his betting tickets except at the Meadows. He bet $2 when I showed him on how to bet a horse. He tells me he bets $2.50 a day, and I have yet to see a losing ticket or a winning ticket. So I rest my case. We're going to come back with some fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Geno Smith will drop deep. He'll pump. He'll take it. Lost the football. Knocked out by Watt. Recovered by Devin Bush, who circles the ring.
Can you tell me where you were on Tuesday night at 7 o'clock?
No. Can you tell me where it was at 7 p.m. on Tuesday?
What if I told you I can? What if I told you I know exactly where you are every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock?
Every Tuesday night? Why would I be doing the same thing every Tuesday night?
Maybe because you like pizza.
What are you getting at?
We have your fingerprints all over the switcher in the control room. I can smell the olive oil's pizza on your breath. I think you know exactly what I'm getting at.
You can't prove anything.
We have eyewitnesses that can place you at the scene. You might as well just come clean.
Okay, I admit it. I help broadcast Pittsburgh Sportsline Live every Tuesday night at 7 on BPTV.
I know you do, Anthony, because I'm there too.
What?
Because I'm the VIP.
So check out the VIP, Al Levine, the Talking Machine, and the rest of the lively crew on Pittsburgh Sportsline every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock on BPTV.
Okay.
Najee Harris
to the end zone.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking
That's
machine.
just my thought.
Yeah,
And
no.
I tell you what, man,
And I do believe.
I'm going back to when it all started.
Last year?
My main man, one of the nicest guys I ever met. We started together with the Steelers, me and Kevin Colbert back in year 2000. Tom Donahoe hired me,
One of the best.
and then the next day they fired Tom.
One of the best.
And they hired Kevin Colbert, and from 2000 to 2006, Kevin Colbert didn't do anything but get beat in racquetball, handball by Bill Cowher, and just get his coffee. He had no dealings at all in the draft. But from 2007 to 2022, he became the first general manager in Pittsburgh Steelers history. What a gentleman. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. We used to go to boxing matches and stuff like that together. Then he didn't want to be seen with me.
What were you saying?
For some reason after that. But I tell you what, I think it's a joke for people to say Kevin Colbert belongs into the Hall of Fame. First of all, I don't believe general managers should go in the Hall of Fame. I think it should be for football players and select coaches and owners. But if you're going to put a general manager in the Hall of Fame, Dick Haley got to go first. How Dick Haley is not in there with 13 Hall of Famers that he drafted is, a mystery to me. And the one thing that Kevin Colbert, I have to bring out, even though I love him, is he missed on a lot of first-round draft picks. How about in 2019, Devin Bush? What a bust, which I said Justin Lane was part of that. How about Terrell Edmonds? How about Artie Burns and Sean Davis? How about Shinquise Golston and Sammy Coates, Jarvis Jones and Ziggy Hood? But other than that, Kevin Colbert, what a gentleman. He's smart. He should do Coach Tomlin should do what Kevin Colbert's doing. All those guys have been on the bandwagon and being carried along by Big Ben. If Mike Tomlin was smart, he retired with Kevin Colbert. And that's what's on my mind. I'm going to miss Kev.
Thank you, Smoking Jim. We always appreciate your honesty.
Got carried by Big Ben, didn't he?
Yeah, thank you, Smoking.
Oh, everybody, thanks. And really not much trivia to talk about baseball-wise right now,
Okay.
being that the players are locked out, so there's nothing happening in baseball. But what I would like to talk about is what's going on with the Pittsburgh Pirates rebuild and what the Pirates are doing to, in the near future,
Try to go
bring
slow
a
so
more
Smoking Jim
competitive Major League
understands.
Baseball team into PNC Park. And the way to do that is to acquire a bunch of talent and develop it. And they've got pieces in place to help speed along the development of the players that are in their minor league system. They've got a lot of promise going on there. Their low A team won the championship in their league. The high A team went to the championship series, took it to 5 games, lost in the 5th game. And now these are players that are going to be moving from low A to high A to double A. So what they've done is they've moved the management from these teams up a level so that the players can continue to grow
Nice
with
move.
the management
That's a nice move.
team that they have. So the Pirates
Continuity. That's called continuity,
the
Smoking
Pirates
Jim.
have developed quite a number of young pitchers that, not all of them are going to pan out. Not all of the players that are in their minor league system are going to pan out, but they've got enough of them in there that there is hope for the future with this
Bad
Pirate
delivery.
team.
Your
So
arm-
you're going with quantity over quality?
Well, you know what? That's what to get quality, you got to have quantity. Because when Cherington got here, the cupboards were bare. There was nothing in our minor league system, to be very honest with you. Because Neil Huntington completely sold out everything. You can see all the stars on other teams. Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah.
It was what's
Meadows.
it? Austin Meadows.
Yeah.
You
Don't
know,
mention
and
that
Shane
anymore.
Boz.
Cringe.
I mean, we
That's
gave up a
cringeworthy.
king's ransom for a washed-up pitcher in Chris Archer,
Oh.
and Chris Archer couldn't even pitch for the Tampa Bay Rays this year. You know, so they've had to rebuild the system. They had got the system, and they're in the process of rebuilding it. And they're a couple of years away, and you just have to accept the fact that, you know what, they're not going to contend this year. But I'll tell you what they will be. They'll be a lot of fun to watch, because one thing Derek Shelton has done with the team that he fielded last year is that was a team that didn't quit. You know, they were lacking talent in a lot of areas, but they played their hearts out, and that shows that they weren't quitting on the management staff. And that's a sign of hope for the future. So, as far as I'm concerned, the future is much brighter for the Pirates than people are going to give them credit. And everybody's going to constantly badmouth them, downgrade them, and complain about Bob Nutting. And you know what? Just get over it and enjoy the product that's going to be put on the field. And you might be a little surprised
Well,
here.
they're already in the Guinness Book of World Records. Maybe they get it again.
Ignore Smoking Jim. Chip, I appreciate your insights and your beliefs on it. I'm only a little skeptical, but here's where I'm hopeful. He bought Seven Springs, got rid of everybody after they showed him what to do to make a profit, and he sold them. My hope, to open the doors and the floodgates of cash when we need to, that'll happen within that couple years when we have the quality players that we want to keep past 4 years. In my opinion, just with what I've seen, because I'm a diehard Pirate fan. And I've been disappointed more than I've been happy. And I'm hopeful like Chip right now. I have to share that because Cherington came in and said, I'm going to get young players for the farm system because we got to feed them into the majors. And Chip just co-signed that that's what he's doing.
And you take a look at his track record. Look what he did with
Red
Boston.
Sox.
Look what he did with Boston. Look what he did with the Toronto Blue Jays. Okay?
Great teams.
You know, and the Blue Jays are going to be a good team for years to come. Okay, so
and that's what you look for in baseball, right, Chip? You want years, not just
so,
1 year.
I mean, people want to point the finger at Bob Nutting. You know, what happened was Clint Hurdle and Neil Huntington became victims of their own success. They became complacent. They felt that we've got a system and this is going to work, and they didn't change with the times. And everybody else in baseball caught up to them and passed them and left them behind. The game is always evolving, you know, and what was working in 2010, 2011, and 2012, it's not the same things that are going to work in 21, 22, and 23.
Just like in life, it's constantly changing. You try to get better.
You either change or you get passed up.
Understood. Well, thank you, Chip. We're going to go to Steve next. We don't have a graphic for him, and you can bring up any subject that you want with sports and that you're interested in. Maybe it's the Penguins. Maybe it's something else. Like, you know, we did talk Penguins, and if you wanted to talk that, not to give you guidance, but you could talk that or something else. I know you're a good sports guy.
Well, thank you for that fine introduction, Al.
You're welcome.
I was thinking of, like, on our podcast, do the Pittsburgh Sports Memories podcast.
Tell us that. Yeah.
We were doing we did a topic like the Pittsburgh sports golden age, just because it seemed like, you know, over the last 10 to 15 years, we like, and compared to like cities like, if you compare us to like Cincinnati or Cleveland, we really had a nice little run there.
Right.
Like between the 3 Stanley Cups and the 2 Super Bowls, and even the Pirates were good for a minute. You know,
let me co-sign.
No offense to Chip.
Let me
No,
co-sign. That sounds like a golden era.
Yeah. It is what it is.
I
mean, the Pirates were good for a few years, a handful of years, and then they've.
Yeah, well, I think to your point is, like when you said baseball caught up, was they kind of changed the rule is the way they were signing people over slot in the draft, and I guess the Yankees and the big market teams didn't like that because then you end up paying all that extra in the free agency, which now they're subject to a luxury tax, which goes back to the Pirates, which. Yeah, they had a nice little scam going there until I guess baseball caught on to it. But my basic point was, and I thought kind of this year, I thought with Ben retiring, and then this kind of earlier when Crosby was kind of hurt and Malkin was hurt before the Penguins like decided that they were going to be good again. I thought, well, maybe this is kind of the end of that era where we're coming to the end of that, and we're kind of go back into like, if you remember like the 80s, like there really wasn't a lot of success in the 80s. There was a little run by the Pirates there 2 or 3 years.
No, the Pirates were worse in the 80s.
Yeah,
until the end of the 80s.
Yeah, till Leland, the end. Like I remember like those middle eight, like, oh my goodness, some of the players like Dale Barra and
oh my
goodness,
Derek Bell and George Hustle Hendrick.
Yeah. Still one of my Mike Diaz is still one of my favorite play. Here's a fun fact for you. I think he still has the record for. He didn't play for the Pirates. He played for the White Sox. He got picked off 4 times at first base in one game. Is there 3 or 4? I don't even know how you do it.
Yes.
Rambo was a friend of mine. Yeah, he actually was. I was a bartender, and he would come over and do guest bartending spots. He used to leave me tickets behind home plate anytime Nolan Ryan pitched.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I was. That was.
So you got to see Nolan. Wow, Nolan Ryan. Now I remember Nolan Ryan, but I was young and I didn't get to actually see him pitch in person.
Sit behind home plate.
That had to be scary.
Ryan.
Yeah.
There was a screen in front of me, and you still jumped every time the ball came.
I believe it. Oh man, that guy could throw. But yeah, I'm wondering now if Pittsburgh sports is heading there. But yeah, the Steelers made the playoffs right now, and the Penguins seem like they're going to make the playoffs. So we'll see. I don't see how the Steelers make a long run without a run defense. Like, I don't think Andy Reid's going to lose his mind and not just like run the ball at them and they'll get eliminated. So I'm thinking, yeah, and I don't know. The Penguins seem every year, it seems like they play well with the backups and they play this system. And then when the superstars come back, they don't want to follow the system, and that's what got them to be good. And then everything kind of falls apart again.
Well, the exception this rule is everybody except one guy has played the system, and he's been hurt.
Yeah.
And he's the biggest guy against the system.
Malkin, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Mad Russian does his own thing, but we need him to play the system.
Yeah, especially I think with his decline, like not to say he's like a terrible, he's still a good player.
Yeah.
But if he could play a little bit more within Sullivan's system, I definitely
give
him a chance.
Especially at this stage of his career, like you're alluding to.
The key to the Penguins' success this year, and after the playoffs last year, everybody to a man said that Tristan Jarry needed to be traded, needed to get rid of him. He was not a number 1 goaltender.
The whole media was against him.
And he has proven he is a number 1 goaltender, and he is more responsible for the success of this team than anything else this year.
Well, he's got to prove it in the playoffs, and that's a different animal. But
it
it's
is,
nice that he just worries me. Like I'm still not totally sold on him being a number 1 goalie that can get you.
After what happened after the playoffs last year, he could have easily folded like a house of cards, and he's standing tall right now.
Yeah, so if he can put that together, even like half of that, just not be like horrible like he was.
That's where
like,
the system is going to.
Yeah.
You know, because you take into account, he got hung out to dry last year against the Islanders. I mean, in a big way. And they didn't have anybody to play backup because Casey DeSmith was hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, they were really up against it, against that series of the Islanders. And they never really beat the Islanders for whatever reason. I think they've ever beat them once out of all the times they played them. So I don't know what it is with the Penguins and the Islanders, but
no, they have that
that
bad chemistry.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Steelers have that with the Colts. Like they always seem to beat the Colts. It doesn't even ever matter. Like whenever they play.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think I'm hoping it isn't over, but my heart doesn't want it to be over. My head's telling me that I think this is probably, if it isn't over, this is like the last gasp maybe this year.
And I could agree that we've gone through, I'd say in the last 2 decades, the golden era of Pittsburgh sports. You know,
maybe not as good as the 70s where they won 4 Super Bowls, and two World Series. Yeah,
I lived through it and saw it. I'm old enough to say I saw it, and I enjoyed it. And guess what? I didn't know who the owner of the Pirates was.
Gilbreth? Was that Gilbreth? Yeah, I guess.
It was Galbraith.
Yeah, Galbraith. Yeah, there you go.
But you know what? Back
he was no Barney Dreyfuss, that's for sure.
Barney was an interesting guy.
he built Ferris wheels and bridges.
And he owned horses.
We didn't care who the owners were. What we cared about,
what we saw on the field.
Who played the game on the field.
Well,
I still feel the same way.
Me
too.
Those
Pirates in the 70s, if they wouldn't have had that red machine out there in Cincinnati, might have had another World Series or 2 on their belt.
They would have had at least 2 more, maybe 3.
And plus Clemente.
Pete Rose didn't take no prisoners.
Yeah.
It wasn't just him. It wasn't just him, but Steve, thank you for that. We're going to go to my segment with On Location. It'll be short and sweet, and then we'll try to talk some Steelers. A2, that graphic is great. On Location is short and sweet. We got nothing happen and only the future for 2022, maybe boxing, maybe other locations. We're talking about doing special events with different groups and things out there. So let's kick it off with the end about the Steelers. I think the Steelers overachieved somehow. Somehow they got in. And here's what Chip alluded to, the Pirates never quitting. And that was a good sign. Well, I saw it with the Steelers. Maybe Smokin' Jim saw somebody quitting because he sees the negative better than I do. I didn't see the Steelers really quit. I saw a lack of talent on the field. Like, to hear Green, the center, Big Ben said 2 weeks ago he's going to be a guard like he was in college next year. Well, my thought is I was a center in high school, so I knew what you had to do to be a center. Why did they put a guard as our starting center with a new line? But that's just me being contrary. Somehow we won. I watched some terrible games, and I watched some great finishes. I watched each one, and I did paint the bathroom 2-3 times because I wanted to watch paint dry because the game, no running, no passing, no defense. But other than that, we won the games to get into it, and guess what? We're in the playoffs. I'm happy.
Well, you know, just, and this is off subject on the Steelers, just look at it across the division, and even just across football. You look at this. Some of the things that we learned about this season. The Ravens are not a playoff team without Lamar Jackson healthy.
Yeah.
And is he going to stay healthy for long if he keeps running the way he does? Answer to that question is no. Baker Mayfield is not now, nor was he ever, nor will he ever be a franchise quarterback.
You're going too far now.
No, I am 100% correct on this one. Okay, and the Cleveland Browns once again proved this year, without any question of a doubt, that they're the Cleveland Browns. They can't handle success, and this team's not going to get better. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, the Bengals are the real deal.
Over the next half a dozen years.
Joe
Burrow is the real deal, and Jamar Chase is a superstar.
Yeah, they beat both the Ravens and the Steelers by double digits.
Yeah,
I think both times.
So these are the things we learned from the division. Other things that we learned: Carson Wentz is a bust. Okay, I mean.
I think that one. I think you.
He
waited again.
He waited 17 games. To soil his pants, and he did. And it was just a matter of time. The people in Philadelphia are saying this is why Jalen Hurts is our quarterback.
Yeah.
My next thing, Josh Allen in Buffalo. This young man is not going to play quarterback very long if he keeps on pretending he's a running back. He doesn't run out of bounds. He lowers his shoulder into people. He doesn't know how to slide. He's not going to last in the league like that. There's a lot of things going on in the league, and you know what? I think the Steelers would be better served draft a quarterback, but they need to fix the offensive line because they could even win with Mason Rudolph if they draft offensive line help.
No, very true. Smokin' Jim, you got about 20 seconds.
I'll tell you what, I finally like an offensive line coach. I've been seeing some things from Chris Morgan. I looked at his background. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers got a good offensive line coach now.
Let me announce this is a Pittsburgh Sports Line first. Never heard it since Mike Munchak is gone. Smokin' Jim overcame some CTE, and he's back with us, so I appreciate that, brother. Thanks to all of you for watching our show. We like to have a lot of fun. Sometimes we veer off on the subjects. Steve got right in it with us. He did very well, and I want to end the show with Stay Joey Strong.